Hello everyone, this is Dylan from the Gloomwood development team. I hope you had a good holiday. I just wanted to take a moment to go over some of the changes that we made to Gloomwood in 2021, as well as tease a little bit about what we have coming in 2022. Many of the changes we made this year were in response to the public demo that we released, as well as improving Gloomwood's ability to be this thiefy survival horror hybrid. These changes were meant to make the player have more options when responding to different situations, while retaining that vulnerability and resource management that the survival horror side of the game is known for. So without further ado, I'll go over some of these changes and then we'll take a peek at what's coming up. Undoubtedly, one of the biggest changes we made to the game after the demo was the inventory system. We're now using a kind of Arx Fatalis meets Resident Evil 4 inventory system where you drag physical items from the game world into the inventory system and back. And it leads to a lot of really creative problem solving, like being able to remove cartridges from your revolver and throw them as a distraction against an enemy. I'm really excited to see how players use this system because it leads to a lot of personalization based upon which items that player decides to bring and which ones they decide to leave behind. There are several new interactive elements in the game world that you can now utilize. There are interactive safes that you can input the combination lock to get the goodies within. There are item boxes now that will drop health supplies, ammo supplies, or even new weapons. You can pickpocket keys from enemies and use those keys to either unlock or relock doors in the game world, and you can even loot ammunition and other supplies off fallen enemies. The most requested feature after the demo was breakable lights. Not only have we made most light sources destructible, but we've also added light switches and power generators. Light switches typically control the lighting in a single room, while power generators can control an entire building or city block. Power generators also have the access to control other electrical-based machinery, and they can also open up new passageways to bypass enemies like maintenance routes. The AI now has a robust speech and dialogue system where they can communicate their suspicions and awareness state to each other, as well as have those conversations that you can eavesdrop on, like the guards and thief.
The hounds seem anxious tonight.
It's the outsider. They don't like his stench.
In combat, the AI can now destroy doors and barriers in their path, and they have a morale system where if they sense that they're winning the fight against you, they will laugh and mock you, but if they sense that they're losing the fight, they will become furious and reckless. We've added the first placeable trap weapon, a bear trap you can lay on the ground and lure enemies into a snare that immobilizes them and causes them to bleed over time. We also have plans to add other trap weapons, such as tripwire dynamite. We've reworked the CANESWORD blocking from the demo so that it breaks on a single successful block. This makes the CANESWORD a lot less effective against multiple enemies, while still making it formidable in a 1v1 fight. There will also be enemies later on that have unblockable attacks, or are able to detect that the player is using block too much and change their strategy accordingly. We've added the first utility weapon to the player's arsenal, a silenced pistol called the Undertaker. Acting as a hybrid between the thief bow and the bolt caster from Arcane's Prey, the Undertaker has several ammunition types that can affect the world and the enemies in unique ways. The first ammunition type is a standard pellet. It will allow you to shoot out lights and push buttons from far away. The second ammunition type is a lot more insidious. It's an incendiary round that will allow you to burn objects and enemies, or instantly explode powder keg barrels. So, what comes next? Well, we have several areas, enemies, and weapons that we're currently working on. All of the footage I just showed you takes place in the fishery, which is going to be the first of the new areas added to the game. After the fishery, the player will begin their trek up to the lighthouse. Of course, this being Gloomwood, it's not going to be as easy a trek as it might seem. After the lighthouse, we'll be at the great gates of the city itself. We'll have several other things we'll want to show, like Gloomwood's version of the rope arrow and the new map and journal system, but I think the most important question is, when are we going to be able to play Gloomwood? And I'm going to say that 2022 is the year that we get the early access out. So, look forward to that. I want to thank everyone who has been super patient, who has supported the game, whether you just wishlisted it or you actively participate in the community. I really appreciate all of that. I'm really looking forward to this year, and I really hope you have a happy new year.